Hey guys, this is D&D, aka Dark Frozen Death, back with another Kamihime project video. This one, since it's not a discussion video on events, I'm not doing the whole music thing in the background. I pretty much left it only for those. But this is something that's going to be very, very important, at least in the earlier stages of it, because you do want to take your time to pick and choose which ones you want to go after first. Now, I will say this right off the bat. I will make this pretty simple for the easier classes because you're going to need to get them all eventually at one point. But classes C through A, which originally were I think they were standard, elite, and legendary souls. I already don't remember, but they've been renamed, and then there's a class S class that's going to get added pretty soon because we've already got the raid metal shop and the books in order to buy. But Class S is going to be the 4th tier souls, and these are the really, really powerful ones. Granted, you may want to aim for some A class ones first, and off the top of my head, I will say that you'll eventually want Herc, Shingen, Solomon, Andromeda, and Joan. Those 5. The other 5 are optional. You can indeed get Mordred, she's actually pretty good, but she tapers off later down the line. But the other 5 you will probably end up using. I know 4 of them is a guaranteed usage if you're trying to make the most out of all your teams. But the 5th one, Hercules, is more or less dependent on if you need a specific EX skill, because she'll reduce the cooldown of it. Using her with Maiden's Prayer is actually pretty good, in fact. But anyways, getting into the meat of this video, this is going to be at least 2 parts. I will say that right now, because there's 10 of these S-Class souls to go through, and I'm going through details of them. So, that said, this is going to take a bit. But anyways, same standard stuff applies. You're going to need either one of these points in order to unlock those 4th tier souls. So keep that in mind. The only 2 I know that you do need the special ones should be these 2. Parcelis, I can't really pronounce that name, and Yorimitsu. So, we're going through the first 5. Because if we follow the DMM schedule, we will get them released in batches of 5. So, starting with Charlemagne. Charlemagne is pretty much the enhanced version of Arthur, if you really want to be honest. And honestly, I like her design. That sword is actually pretty cool. I did a lot of this stuff in a sneak peek video, but now I'm going into full-blown details because there's a lot more known about these guys, so everything should be filled in. But starting off, you're going to notice something pretty interesting. First skill. It's like Arthur's, but with a burst performance buff. That's nothing new. Here's where things get new with the 4th tier souls. You get to pick and choose between one of these 3 skills for the second ability. Which in her case happens to be this defense down debuff, this attack up buff, and this combo rate buff. Again, more details when we go further down to the page, but generally speaking, this is where 4th tier souls have a lot of flexibility, because not only is their 4th skill, which is the EX ability, flexible, you also get to have a little bit of flexibility on their other 2. This is to make up for the fact that their skills do not carry on to other souls, so you will never learn any abilities from a 4th tier soul so you can put it on a different one. If you could, that would be amazing. But unfortunately, you cannot. So that's something to know. But anyways, she's very, very buff oriented by the looks of this. That's how they decided to go with her. So, she can up her own attack power, she can up her own combo rate, she can up everybody's attack power. She can massively spike attack power for one time and increase the damage limit. That's something interesting. She can increase everybody's sneak attack probability. That's Stinger. And with her own special assist ability, she can increase everybody's attack power by, it's 5%, but it's really 5% assault. And she also increases her own combo rate. On top of this, they get soul weapons of their own as well. That's further down in the list. We'll see what she has for hers. But simply put, this first ability, burst gauge by 100, increase the burst performance. It says performance, not cap. So that means it's not going to increase the burst cap. But it will make it very easy for her to hit it. Now, if there's anybody that's actually looking at this that played DM side and I get anything wrong, please let me know in the comments. But like I said, there's going to be a lot of different stuff to go through. I probably will need timestamps. But second skill, 30% A-frame defense down, and it's 150 seconds worth of time. Not 180 seconds worth though. But even then, given its cooldown and everything too, you should be able to get it back off again. 6 turns in 150 seconds? Yeah, doable. Also, when you use it, it's got a soft cap of its own of 300,000. So yeah. Now, this one right here. They didn't verify it, but this automatically says enough. You can start stacking attack power increases on her. Very nice. And it also deals with a little bit of minor damage, so that means you can get like 5 stacks of that. Personally speaking, I would be using either that stackable attack buff or the defense down debuff. If you do not need to lower defense down, that second one's probably going to be the one to go. Because this third one eats up burst gauge to increase the combo rate. But it's saying that you pretty much a guaranteed combo while doing this. Honestly, there's other ways to get combo increases, so I wouldn't even suggest it too much, but that's also an option. The attack power one seems to be the better one. Now, going into your third slot, the first one you can put it there. 40% assault buff to everybody. The same time as Avalon's Guidance. It is pretty much one of the weapons that Arthur did will make Avalon's Guidance do this much. She just gets it naturally. So no soul weapon or anything. This second one. It says damage plus 30%, burst limit plus 15%. So what this does is up damage amount. It also says normal attacks also get a soft cap of 400,000. So that's interesting. It gives them a 50,000 increase. So what this is sounding like it does is give you attack increase, ability increase, burst increase, and a burst damage limit. So it's going to pretty much buff all your damage outright and then also give you a burst limit increase. This is pretty nice if you really end up using her. Now then, this last one. This is where it gets a little bit interesting because sneak attack is Stinger, and Stinger only works if you have advantage element. That makes it a little bit not worthwhile, but in the form of buffs, it's generally good. This I would say is pretty good because it's a it is 50%. I don't know if that's a chance or the damage, but either way, that's pretty high. That's automatically saying it should be worth it. And it will eat 20 of her burst gauge, but honestly, she can fill herself up to 100 at will. So there you go. Combining that with the stacking that she can do on herself, she can start hitting pretty hard. So honestly, if you have advantage, that sneak attack might actually help. If you don't have advantage, you got another option anyways. Either the AoE assault increase or the damage and burst limit increase. She's got some very strong options. Going into her weapons. Her burst effect. It says allies own attribute attack up plus 10%. So that means whatever attribute you have for that weapon is going to buff everybody's elemental attack. It's only for 2 turns, but it's 10%. It's minor. It could help. Now here's where things get interesting. Her sword is the elemental attack one. It will Increase the Spirit Burst performance from Emperor's Majesty, which should be her first skill, I do believe. Yeah, it looks like it might be. Translations are kind of weird. But, oh wait, it says Spirit Burst performance. It may just be her. But either way, it's saying that the damage and the upper limit is both increased. So, yeah, she'll start bursting harder. Better looks of things, she'll start bursting harder. Now, the Defender weapon, which is the HP one, and this is the Axe, moral enrollment increased by 10%. So going back up here. Let's see what moral enrollment was. Oh, moral encourage. That's probably what that is, moral encourage. So that seems like it's going to be a 15%. Honestly, in this situation, either one's okay. But I would probably take the sword because of the fact that the sword's giving 40% elemental attack. And then she can burst and buff for another 10%. So yeah. That said, I would probably take the sword in this case. But keep in mind that the axe, the HP weapon, 40%. They're both 40% when you max them out. So keep that in mind. Excuse me. So that said, you're going to want to do that. You're going to want to get one of these soul weapons, and preferably I'd say the sword. Going into Romulus, who is the enhanced version of Joan. Out the gate, I am seeing something I absolutely would love. Damage cut 60%. Before Joan needed a weapon for that one. You just get it outright. And since it's in one frame, it will probably stack with other people's too. So it makes it very easy to get that 100%. Now then, going a little further into the rest of her kit. It says, increases double attack and gives a regenerate. Seems like it might be a strong version of Jones. Up your own defense, give attention and regenerate. So that means she will draw more attacks to herself, while increasing her defense and giving her some regen. Doesn't seem too bad. Says up her own defense maximum and protect her allies for 2 turns. That one might actually be better, but... Okay, see, here's the thing. Protecting your allies forces all of the multi-hit or single target hits to go to you. If it's AoE, it won't work. So, in situations where you're getting hit with a lot of AoE stuff, like, say, the Water Guardian, then that wouldn't really do too much. But the second one is not guaranteed to make all the attacks draw to her. So, this was a matter of preference. I probably wouldn't take that double attack one with the AoE regenerate, because it's... Jones wasn't that great. I'm not expecting this one to be it. But this is just at a first glance. We'll go into details. Now then, this second one. Attribute damage to whatever weapon she has. Attack down. 30% A-frame. Very, very useful if you don't need these other 2 abilities. Because that's more than half of the cap. The second ability she can do. Damage to an enemy, and it gives herself a response. Response, if I remember correctly, will make her counter hit. So that's already sounding very good. Combined with the attention or the protect, that can actually do quite a bit. I'm pretty sure of that. This third one also may actually have some good stuff to do as well. It says reduces attribute damage. I'm not fully sure if it's if it means attribute damage and then reduces the charge turn. That's probably what it's going by. So just the fact that it's a charge turn removal could also give you some uses right there too. Now her assist abilities, her attack power goes up when the damage is taken, and it stacks. Defense up for all allies. We'll find out what those do. Starting off, the double attack. Okay, it is 25% double attack chance. That's actually not bad. I still wouldn't take it over the other two, but it's a decent option. Gives her a regen of 300. Gives everybody a regen of 300, and this is for 5 turns. So, that said, it could be worth. You're getting about 500 HP back. I mean, 1500 HP back. And this is affected by Ascension, so you can triple it. So keep that in mind. But these next two, this is where it's interesting. You can either put a self-defense up of 60%. Keep in mind, 40% is like a 30% damage cut at all times, whenever it's active. But 60% gives more attention to herself, and she gets a regen for 5 turns. Which means she'll get at least 2,000 HP back. If you got max Ascension, that is 6,000 HP back. That is strong. However, her third skill is even stronger on the defense buff, does not last as long, and she'll guarantee guard all other allies from any source of damage that isn't AoE, or of course the debuffs, for 2 turns. 93% defense. That is almost double defense. And when you double your defense, that's a 50% damage cut, basically. That is stupidly strong. Either one is worth. I probably wouldn't take that regen. The AoE regen is very good. I'm not going to lie about that one, but it's overshadowed by the other two. Because she's reducing the damage she takes at least by 30%. Given that that's a 60% damage cut, I think it might reduce it by about 40%. So, that is strong. And then the other one's almost half damage. And this can stack on top of her damage cut? Oh yeah. Now then, third skill. You already know about the 30% attack down, but its soft cap is about 250,000. Yeah, so. The third one. It says damage plus, it says 3 turns. A magnification of 300,000. So, this is a response one. So, this one can give you some extra damage if you use it. But it says it's a 300,000 soft cap for even when she does a respawn hit. So, when you use it, 300,000, whenever she reflects damage, it's 300,000 a hit. So, yeah. It can even compensate for the burst gauge, too, because when you do response, it also counts as a normal attack. So, it will give you burst gauge when you do it. Considering she's first slot, she's going to need quite a bit of burst gauge if you use her. Now then, this last one deals damage, high chance to sip and remove an orb. So if you need to remove an orb off an enemy's overdrive gauge, this might actually help you out. It's got a 220,000 soft cap, so there you go. And then it says attack up when damaged. Keyword, when damaged. It even says clear as day. If you are not taking damage, you are not getting this. So that's a case where you want her to have very high defenses, but not I can't take any damage type defenses. But it will be 20% attack up 3 turns. So she can get her attack plus 60. She can get 60% more assault just off of that. And allies defense up plus 5%. Seems small, but combined with some other stuff, is actually pretty strong. So, everybody else is going to take a little bit less damage. Combined with the damage cut, that's even less damage. Combined with the fact that she can put a lot of defense up on herself, that's strong. So there you go. But okay. Now, this one is interesting. Either one of these weapons could actually work for her, looking at it out the bat. But anyways, she cuts her own damage out the gate when she bursts. So she's going to be very, very tanky. To add even more icing onto the cake, the attribute one, the elemental attribute one, the cooldown of her damage cut ability is reduced by 1 turn. That makes it a 5 turn between each one. With some good turn manipulation and maybe some extensions, you might actually be able to cast it every nuke. It depends on what the enemy's dealing with. The HP one, damage cut of all heroes by 20%. Now, from what it's saying, like what's implied from it, it's a permanent damage cut. That means with the one buff, it's 80%. So honestly, she can work with either one, but this is probably another case of where you want the HP weapon, because Joan's HP weapon is already better. At least in my opinion. This HP weapon's looking like it's going to be the better of the two, but either one still works pretty nicely. So, it's up to you. If you want to go a little bit more offensive and still get a damage cut that comes out faster, or if you just want a permanent damage cut. But yeah, 4th tier Joan, Romulus, you're looking very, very strong. This is why I can see, and before I even go to the next one, this is why, like, this kit is probably why somebody was able to take her on DMM side and go solo an ultimate catastrophe using only her. No other characters. She is so strong, I wouldn't be surprised that if you get a strong enough grid, she can sip and take out a good chunk of a Ragnarok raid on her own. So, yeah. But oh boy, speaking of broken ones, I already know about this one. Asclepius, I don't know how to pronounce her name. So, I probably won't spend as much time going over her kit, but I already know. She's a stupidly strong healer. For those of you like Andromeda, you got somebody much better later down the line, and you'll see why. For that reason, I have to mention, Ascension is going to break this game with her. If you're going the healer route, get Ascension. Get as much as you can up to your 200%. Believe me, you're going to want it. Starting off, her initial ability. Every 5 turns, she can heal everybody, including other people, by 2,000 HP. And this is effective with Ascension, so that's a 6,000 HP heal that you can even use in other raids. That is strong. Like, you can use it on other people in raids. Add more icing to the cake. First skill. A very large defense up buff that can be spread to everybody. Even if you're somebody else on the raid, you can still get this defense up buff for 3 turns. I will go at whatever it does entirely. Second skill she can actually use. Remember Cassiopeia's ability, Chaos Magic? Well, this soul got one of her own, which means if you set Chaos Magic as an EX skill, she can do it twice, removing 1 buff off of somebody. But if you need a little bit more healing, here's another one where you can use it on one specific ally and it gives them a 4,000 HP heal, which is double the previous one. I will say this out the gate. This combined with the previous skill I mentioned that heals, 6,000 HP to one character. Triple that if you got max ascension. That is 18,000 to one character. That is insane. And keep in mind that if you're using Lug, and there may be other Kamihime like her, I don't know, but Lug's assist ability gives her an ascension boost that is outside the ascension cap. That's even more. That's nuts. Now then, going into third ability slot. AoE Revive. Enough said. The second ability. It says grant allies and yourself. I don't know if it's to one specific ally alone or if it puts it on that ally along with herself. But, yeah. This third one is a lot of people like because it'll give you some nice little backup. Plus, you don't really get too many of these potions in the raids. So there you go. You got a potion generation. Oh, and if the healing wasn't enough too, one of her assist abilities, she gets a regen. The other assist ability will increase everybody's HP by 5%. So free 5% defender. And oh boy, we have not even gotten into our weapons yet. But yeah. This is stupidly good. This says you get pretty much Andromeda's buff right here for a defensive buff. Says effect size needs to be verified. My guess is, given the others have had that same type of thing, it's the same one as Andromeda's where it will increase the power. She'll probably be like 30-40% defense buff right there. The second ability, like I said, Chaos Magic. If you carry it, you got 2 of them. There you go. So if you take the Chaos Magic as an EX skill, there you go. Third one, single target heal. And honestly, this makes her flexible in its own right. This is why I kind of would want that ability over the other two. Because you got an AoE heal on demand, you got a single target heal on demand. Along with the fact that she can generate heal bottles on top of this? Oh boy. But, Immortal Desire, yeah, it puts it on her and somebody else. And it says no turns are wasted because the cooldown is just as long as the duration. But here's another thing too you can do with something else. You can take Andromeda's Resuscitation and revive somebody. This one isn't an AoE revive, so it's a single target one. But you take Andromeda's Resuscitation, you can revive 2 characters out the gate. Whenever you get like some sort of huge nuke. So what that means is that you can take this ability, 7-turn revival, Andromeda's Resuscitation, which is 10 turns, 2 revivals right there. She's got a lot of flexibility. And like I said, the last one's a heal bottle. So it's a potion, basically. You generate potions. Combine that with the onset, and that's a... Oh boy, the potion generation is going to be insane. But, anyways. When she bursts, increases her recovery limit. But honestly, if you got enough Ascension, you're not going to really care about that. The Elemental Attack one. It says that you will be given a abnormal rate recovery. That means it's going to take a debuff off of you whenever you use her main first skill. The HP one, regen added to it instead of the cleanse. Either one is right. Either one is good. And quite frankly, if multiple people have the cleanse, you're not really going to have to worry about debuffs too much. So, yeah. There's some possibility with either one. My suggestion, if you're really that hard on healing, go with the HP weapon. If not, take the attack one. But she's great. Speaking of somebody else that's very great, Medea. Oh boy, Medea. She's so strong that she's pretty much breaking the DMM meta. That's what I gotta say out the gate. She is Solomon on some absurdly strong roids. That's the best way I can put it. I love using Solomon. Well, I love using Merlin with Solomon's abilities, if you want to be specific. But honestly, when she comes out, I'll probably be using hers as is, because she's very cute. I'm not gonna lie about that one. But, anyway. Oh boy, let's start off the gate with a 10 times damage multiplier. Also, going into the second skills, we're starting off very interesting, because remember Solomon's Ring? Well, hey, guess what? It hits everybody. Oh boy. Second one you can put. She lowers attribute resistance. That means whatever weapon she has, she's lowering the attribute resistance of that weapon. Third skill. You can only use this once. And it only is usable when it comes off a cooldown. But that first skill she has goes off 3 times with that. And it doesn't, if I remember correctly too, it does not eat up the usage of that first skill. So you can literally use it 4 times in one turn. 5 if you get something that Solomon gives, which is an ability cooldown reset. Or hey, if you're down to 1 turn, you can, there's some, I'll go over it later. There's some combinations with that one. But anyways, third ability slot. Ability performance buff on everybody. These aren't bad, but really are just generally overshadowed by other stuff. Quite frankly, if you have a different Kamihime doing that, then I would probably have them do it. Unless it's upping the limit. Now, if it ups the damage limit, then yeah, it may or may not be worth it. Now, second one you can put in the third slot. This is also pretty interesting. Advantageous element is getting its elemental attack reduced. So if you are fighting, say, a wind enemy with a fire team, you have a fire Medea, she's lowering wind attack. Even if you're not, she's lowering wind attack. So that's where you got to consider what your weapons are and what teams you're using. But third skill. She will reduce the ability cooldown of everybody by 1 turn. This is probably going to be the one you take. Doesn't matter who it is, what ability it is. All abilities, 1 turn, cooldown, removed. And then on top of that, her assist is also giving her an ability damage increase for everybody. And the damage limit whenever you use her first skill. That's insane. So she's giving you pretty much free elaborate. Oh boy. So let's go over what she's pretty much doing here. Now, it's saying, yeah, here's the full details. Okay, so oh, okay. Here's what it's pretty much saying. It says a generalized Solomon's ring. So, what it's saying is, I think this is not really hitting everybody with each part of Solomon's ring. So, this may not be AoE Solomon ring. We'll probably know when she comes out anyways. But it says the upper limit is 100,000. So, that means each hit, I do believe, is going to do that much. So, yeah. This one, the 10 times multiplier, 800,000 soft cap out the gate. This one is a 20% attribute resist down, and it's got a 400,000 damage limit. The third one, you already know. You already know. So keep that in mind. You will be able to pretty much 4 times cast that first skill. Okay, going into the third one. Okay, this gives it a little bit more oomph. A 50% ability damage buff, which means the multipliers are getting an extra 0.5 added, and the upper limit is also increased by 10%. So that's actually not bad. I can see some uses for it, but But it said, if you're using Magical Truth, which is the other buff ability from Solomon, Yeah, this is going to nullify that. So would I would not be using Magical Truth anyways. So if you're going to take an ability buff, this is probably going to be it. Otherwise, you're probably taking the other one where it reduces the cooldown of all abilities by 1 freaking turn. Period. And there's the attribute attack, which is a 20%. If you really want to, maybe, but the other two are definitely better than that one. Especially this ability cooldown one. But actually, if you utilize a lot of stuff, it's saying right here on our assist ability that you can get like 275% ability damage just on Medea, and other people will spread to as well. It is insane. And the assist ability is 4% per use, so you can get up to 20%. So that's a 20% elaborate soft cap increase. It's pretty much 30% with her buff, but there's others that may buff it anyways. Oh, and if ability cooldowns wasn't enough, because remember, Solomon's got something that can reset it through her mastery ability, which Medea can equip, and Medea's got a skill that lowers everybody's by 1 turn. When she bursts, she lowers her own by another turn. Well then. Oh, and let's go a little bit further. Remember Solomon's Keyblade, which is the Leamington Key. Yes, I called it a Keyblade. It does look like one, I'm going to say that. But, well, this is the same thing, basically. This, elemental attack weapon for her, which is a glaive. Same thing. It says 10 times more damage. I don't know why. But it says generalizing. So honestly, given that that says generalizing, I think the ring ability also generalizes. So that said, yeah, it says all enemies, so I think it's going to be an AoE Solomon's ring. I think it is. But the HP weapon. Persistent obsession cooldown reduced. So it's either going to make it every 3 turns by the sound of it, or it's just going to reduce it by 1. I think it reduces it by 1. But if it shortens the usage of it at the end of the turn, that means it's going to be every 3. Ooh boy. So I don't know. If this really does reduce it every single turn, so it goes down by 2 turns instead of 1, that's insane. But the first one makes it AoE. Either way, Medea, one of the better damage dealing souls, she is in the first batch. My suggestion to you, she's probably going to be the one you go for first. If you're going offensive, she's going to be the one you're going first. But speaking of which, Hector has a lot of damage capability herself. So I've heard. She is the 4th tier version of Siegfried, of all people. And she comes out the gate with a lot of damage capability. We'll go over why. First one turn, self-buff, buffs the ever-loving crap out of her. I'll go into details on what it does, though. Second ability. For first pick of it. Increase attack damage on stunned enemies, all allies, 2 turns. Not bad. There's a stun nuker. Sometimes you do want the stun nuking, though. The second one. It says mode gauge reduction and the upper damage limit of all allies increased. A lot of these souls are giving you a damage limit increase, so soft caps are going to start getting raised like crazy. This third one. Guaranteed Stinger for 5 turns. And also causes the defense down. And it is 20%, so you're pretty much getting a 20% multiplier increase guaranteed for 5 turns. Third slot, keeps an enemy's stun state. That means it won't knock them out of stun, but also hits them with a 15 times multiplier. They have to be in stun, but oh boy, does that do a lot. Second one, direct mode gauge decrease for all enemies. Burst gauge increase for all allies. And that's 3 turns, so it's saying it's probably going to increase your burst gauge rate. And the last one, activate a basic attack immediately. So depending on what you have, that's actually could be pretty useful. But personally, you're probably going to use one of the first 2 for the 3rd slot. As for the 1st slot, any of them's looking pretty good if you want to be honest. But you're probably going to use the last 2. Also, her assist ability. Everybody's got an increased combo rate when enemies are raged. Everybody's got a damage increase when enemies are stunned. So let's go over what all this is doing. First skill. 3 buffs. Spread. Makes her damage go AoE. So her normal attacks are AoE. And if there's multiple enemies, you'll gain a lot of gauge. It says you can get 42 for 2 enemies, up to 42. And 45 burst gauge for 3 enemies. That's nuts. Oh, and that's not all. She's getting a triple attack buff as well. It doesn't say how much, but I'm pretty sure it's a good amount. 125% attack buff. Yeah, enough said. Now, going into this next part. Attacks enemies in the stun state. With a huge damage spike. So, it's pretty much a stun buff. And this one lasts for 2 turns, so if it's a long stun, you might be able to do 2 of them. So who knows? Now, this next one, it says 4 buffs to allies. Mode gauge reduction. I'm not sure how much it gives, but the reduction rate's probably pretty good, for once. Here's the more important parts of the skill. Normal attacks, 15% damage limit increase. Ability, burst damage, 15%. Everything gets a 15% soft cap increase. Considering normal attacks get a 300% maximum, yeah. But this, oh boy. It gives you elaborate, exceed, and technical all at once. And then this is a crit one, enough said. But it also gives you a non-erasable defense debuff, so it makes you a bit glass cannon-y, so keep that in mind. Selectable in the 3rd slot. The damage attenuation is not what it says right there, so it says 2 million. It could be up to like 2 million. Reading right here, so yeah. But either way, huge stun nuke, and it keeps them in stun? Very nice. Well, it says a short stun allowance, so honestly, I think it's okay, see, here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm reading here. This is a huge stun nuke. And now that I'm really reading this, it's saying that it might or might not knock him out of stun. So I'm guessing it extends the duration and nukes him really hard. Either that or keeps him in stun, but nukes him really hard. We'll find out. Either way, it sounds like a very good skill to use anyway, because stun nuking is going to be very, very, very powerful with her. This one, 30% mode gauge decrease, period point blank. And everybody's got an increased buff rate of burst gauge. So it's a 30% looking at it because it says +3 for each normal hit. So yeah. It's a good idea to use at the start of the battle, but you can also use it whenever they're raging or whatnot, so it gives her an ability to use. It's going to up her vice burst gauge rates. And the last one's pretty much just trigger an attack immediately. I don't need to say too much with that one. Anyway, her abilities. I mean her weapons. Just like Siegfried, Burst Echo, regardless of the weapon you use. So when you burst with her, second hit with X amount of damage. I don't know how much it is because they don't have too much on here. But yeah. Her elemental weapon. Everybody's guaranteed to combo when the enemy's stunned. That's actually sounding pretty good when you really get some good use out of it. But if your combo rates are stupidly high to begin with, you may or may not need that weapon. The HP one. It only works on herself, but it gives a pursuit effect. And pursuit is pretty much echo for normal attacks. So it's a 30% one. So it's pretty much generally 30% of what she does. Extra damage. So actually the HP one could be pretty good too. They're not stupidly broken like some of the other ones we've seen, but they've got their uses, if you want to be honest. So either weapon works. Either weapon works. But oh boy, some of her abilities are looking insanely good. They did Siegfried some justice with her. And you ask me, she's actually pretty hot. Okay, this is something I gotta say off the side, but me personally, whenever a girl shows her back, I always find it a little bit attractive. I'm not even gonna lie about that one. That alone makes her kinda hot. That's just my personal taste. Hopefully she's not trying to beat that ever-loving crap out of me with a hammer because of that. But that's another thing too. She's the only hammer-based soul. So if you have a hammer grade, you're probably going to be taking that HP weapon. So yeah, keep that in mind. But anyways, that's all for this video. I've done this long enough because this is like almost an hour. And quite frankly, this is just half of them. Not to mention, I haven't even gone into what you need to go through to get these guys. But I will say this out the gate. If you do not have a maxed out soul weapon, as in level 125, skill level 20, you will not be able to unlock any of these 4-tier souls if you do not have it. They need at least one of those to be unlocked. It doesn't necessarily mean they have to use it, but they need at least one of those to be unlocked. That is just one of many requirements. But if you want to get their versions of soul weapons, you will indeed have to be doing stage 5 quite a bit of times. So, yeah. But anyways, at the start of the next video, I'll go over what you need for each one. But, generally speaking, do everything in the game, get a lot of stuff. Even storyline, you're going to need to grind a little bit too, believe me on that one. You'll need to do quite a bit of stuff in order to get all this stuff. It's a long grinding process, guys, but it's worth it. If you're going to do it for any one soul, and you just do not know which one to pick, get Medea. There's others that are stupidly strong too if you use them correctly. I heard Charlemagne's pretty good. I've heard Hector's pretty good for damage. I've heard Yorimitsu's pretty good for damage. She's later on the line. From what I've seen, Caspar can probably be pretty good with it. The 4th tier Mordred, I forgot her name, does a lot of damage over time. But honestly, the go-to damage dealer is usually Medea. You can never go wrong with picking Medea. Ever. She does so much on her own. But if you got teams that can work around her, one of the people I have in my union, he's got a very good spread of fire Kamihime, including a limited one. who can actually amplify Medea even more. I'm loving to see what he'll do with that one. But I I will definitely want to see what he'll do with that. But that's the thing. Medea, super strong on her own. She amplifies even more. There's other souls that work pretty well on their own as well, but you want to try and get souls that can help your team as well as help you out. But Medea is the best suited for that. But anyways, that's all for this. More is going to come soon, and take care.